I can still smell the coffee from the reception after the service. It was a bitter French roast, the kind my wife Ellen used to drink every morning without sugar. People kept lining up to shake my hand, telling me how sorry they were, when my daughter Claire took me by the elbow and pulled me into a narrow hallway at the funeral home. Her voice was low, sharp. "Dad, listen to me carefully. Your comfortable life just ended today. You need to sign these papers now, or you're going to lose everything. My name is Thomas Reed. I'm 69 years old. 3 days ago, I buried my wife of 41 years. And even now, I still can't believe what happened next." The hallway smelled like lilies and old wood polish. Claire already had documents open on her tablet, scrolling with her finger like this was just another work meeting. Her husband, Mark, stood behind her with his arms folded, casually blocking the exit so I couldn't step away. "What are you talking about?" I asked. My throat was raw from crying through the service. Claire didn't look sad. Not even tired. Her makeup was flawless. She wore a black dress that probably cost more than Ellen's burial plot. "Dad, you're not capable of handling your affairs anymore," she said flatly. "You can barely function. I've already spoken with an attorney. You need to give me power of attorney, and we need to put the house up for sale before you destroy everything." I stared at her. "Your mother died on Tuesday," I said. "It's Friday. Can we not do this today?" Mark stepped forward, his voice calm in a way that felt practiced. "Thomas, you're emotional. You're grieving. You're not thinking clearly. Claire's just trying to protect you." My daughter, my only child, placed her hand on my arm. The same hand ID held when she learned to walk. "Dad, I love you," she said softly. "That's why I'm doing this. Mom would want me to take care of you. Just sign the documents." "I already called a real estate agent," she added. "We can list the house next week." I pulled my arm away. "The house?" I said. "Your mother and I built that house 35 years ago. You grew up there." "Exactly," Claire replied. "It's too big for you now. Too many memories. You need something smaller. A condo, maybe. Mark and I will manage everything." She pushed the tablet closer to my chest. "All we need is your signature." People were starting to drift out of the reception room. I noticed Ellen's sister watching us from across the hall, concern written all over her face. Claire noticed too. Her voice dropped even lower. "We can do this the easy way or the hard way, Dad. But it's happening. You're not competent right now. Any judge would agree. Sign." I didn't sign anything. I told her we'd talk later, after I had time to think. She left the funeral home without saying goodbye to anyone. Mark followed her, already talking into his phone. Ellen's sister walked over. "Tom, what was that about?" she asked. "I don't know," I said. But deep down, I was starting to understand. The next morning, Saturday, I woke up alone. Ellen's side of the bed was cold. I'd forgotten to close the curtains, and bright September light flooded the room. For one brief second, I forgot she was gone. Then reality hit me like a fist to the chest. I went downstairs to make coffee. That's when I realized Claire hadn't been bluffing. My credit card was declined. So was my debit card. I checked my phone and saw multiple emails from my bank, all time-stamped just after 3 a.m. Every account I had was frozen due to suspicious activity. There was a number to call. After 20 minutes on hold, I finally spoke to a woman named Andrea, who sounded like she'd repeated the same lines 100 times already. "Mr. Reed, your accounts have been restricted due to concerns regarding your mental capacity," she said. "We received documentation indicating possible cognitive impairment." "What documentation?" I asked. "I don't have dementia." "Sir," she continued, "we have a notarized letter from a physician stating you've been diagnosed with early-stage dementia and are not capable of managing your finances. Your daughter has filed paperwork to assume power of attorney." I hung up. My hands were shaking. I tried calling my doctor's office. Closed for the weekend. I called my brother in Michigan. No answer. Then I called Claire. She answered immediately. "Dad," she said, "I was expecting your call." "What did you do?" I asked. "I protected you," she replied. "I told you yesterday this was happening. You're not well. You haven't been since Mom got sick. I have a responsibility to make sure you don't ruin everything you and Mom work for. I don't have dementia, I said. You know that. You forget to eat, she said. You left the stove on twice last month. Mom told me. You're confused. You're grieving. You can't make sound decisions right now. I'm doing this because I love you. She paused. We've temporarily frozen your accounts until we get you proper care. Mark knows a facility outside the city, memory care. We can have you admitted next week. I'm not going to a memory care facility, I said. I'm fine. Her voice hardened. Dad, I have legal documentation that says otherwise. I have a doctor's statement. I have witnesses. You can fight this, or you can let me help you. What doctor? I asked. I've never seen anyone about dementia. She hesitated. Just for a moment. Dr. Patterson, she said. Has been seeing you for 6 months. I've never heard of a Dr. Patterson. That's because you don't remember, Dad, she replied coolly. That's the problem. She didn't let me respond. I'm coming by tomorrow morning with the real estate agent. We need to start clearing the house. I've already rented a storage unit for Mom's things. You are not coming into this house, I said. It's not your decision anymore, she answered. Tomorrow. 10 o'clock. And then she hung up. I sat alone at the kitchen table in the house Ellen and I had built with our own hands. I had no money, no access to my accounts, and apparently no legal right to my own life. My daughter had taken everything in less than 24 hours. I tried to think of who I could call. Most of my friends had really been Ellen's friends, church people, neighbors, couples we'd known together. What was I supposed to say? That my daughter was trying to steal my house? They'd think I was confused. Or worse, that I was exactly what Claire claimed I was. For a moment, I even wondered if she was right. But no, I knew she wasn't. Ellen had been sick for 2 long years. Cancer doesn't let you look away. I had driven her to every appointment, managed her medications, kept the calendars, paid the bills when she was too tired. I hadn't forgotten meals. I hadn't left stoves on. I was grieving, not losing my mind. Claire was lying. The question was why. I went upstairs to Ellen's small home office. She'd always been the organized one. I opened her filing cabinet and started going through folders, bank statements, insurance policies, the deed to the house. That's when I saw a folder labeled Claire. Inside were printed emails. Ellen had been saving them. My hand started to shake as I read the first one, dated just over a year earlier. Mom, I need to borrow $50,000. Mark's business is having cash flow issues. It's temporary. We'll pay it back within 6 months. Ellen's reply was underneath. Claire, your father and I are retired. We don't have that kind of money. Have you spoken to the bank? The next email came 2 weeks later. They turned us down. Please, Mom. If this falls apart, we lose the house. I'm your daughter. I need help. Ellen's response was firm but gentle. I'm sorry, sweetheart. We can't. After that, the messages kept coming. 30,000. 20,000. 10,000. Ellen said no every single time. Then I reached the last email. Dated 3 months ago. Fine. When you're gone, I'll get what I'm owed anyway. That house is worth at least $800,000. Dad won't last long without you. I sank into Ellen's chair like my legs had given out. The folder slipped from my hands, papers scattering across the floor. This wasn't impulsive. This wasn't panic. My daughter had been planning this. She was buried in debt, and she needed our house to save herself. That's when I heard a knock at the front door. For a moment, I hoped it was my brother calling back, or Ellen's sister checking in. I looked through the window. A police officer stood on the porch. I opened the door. Can I help you? He was young, early 30s maybe, with a calm voice and kind eyes. Mr. Reed. I'm Officer Lopez. Your daughter requested a wellness check. She said she was concerned about you living alone and mentioned some troubling behavior. Of course she had. She was covering every angle. I'm fine, I said. My wife just passed away. I'm grieving, but I'm managing. I'm very sorry for your loss, he said sincerely. Your daughter mentioned possible memory issues. Forgetting meals. Leaving appliances on. Are you taking any medications? No, I said. And am not confused. My daughter is lying because she wants my house. I heard how that sounded the moment it left my mouth. The officer's expression shifted. Not hostile, just careful. Has anyone threatened you, sir? She froze my bank accounts. She's trying to get power of attorney. She's telling people I have dementia. None of it's true. He pulled out a small notebook. When did this begin? Yesterday. At my wife's funeral. And did you sign any documents? No. He nodded slowly. Then legally, your finances are still yours. Unfortunately, this falls under civil law. If you believe your daughter is acting improperly, you'll need to speak with an attorney. So you can't help me. I can note that you're safe and not a danger to yourself, he said. And that's important. Beyond that, family disputes over money are something the courts handle. He hesitated, then added quietly, if you don't mind me saying, grief complicates everything. A lawyer, maybe even a counselor, could help you navigate this. He gave a small, awkward smile. My dad passed last year. My brother and I nearly destroyed each other over his fishing boat. I tried to smile back. Thank you, officer. After he left, I sat on the front porch and watched the street. It was a beautiful September afternoon. Leaves just beginning to turn. Kids riding bicycles. Life moving forward like nothing was wrong. My phone buzzed. A text from Claire. A few minutes later, my phone buzzed. Claire. Officer Lopez says you're doing fine. I'm relieved. See you tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Please have the house ready. The agent needs photos. I didn't reply. That night, sleep wouldn't come. I kept seeing that folder from Ellen's office. The email she'd printed, the quiet way she'd documented everything. She had known. She'd seen who our daughter was becoming and tried to protect us both. Now Ellen was gone. And I was on my own. At 3 a.m, I got out of bed and went back into her office. I copied every email, every page, right there on our old printer. Then I took the originals and hid them in the garage, inside a box labeled holiday decorations, the last place Claire would ever bother looking. Sunday morning, I was halfway through my coffee when I heard tires on gravel. It was only 8:30. She was early. I stayed where I was. She knocked for several minutes. Then my phone started buzzing. I let it ring. Finally, her voice came sharp through the mail slot. Dad, I know you're in there. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. I'm trying to help you. I opened the door. Claire stood there dressed like she was headed into a boardroom. Crisp jacket, perfect hair. Mark was beside her. And a third woman stood behind them, holding a camera and a tablet. This is Janet from Horizon Realty, Claire said, brushing past me into the house. Janet, this is my father. She didn't wait for introductions. Dad, Janet's here to take photos. The place needs a little staging, but we should be able to list by midweek. Close within 60 days. Janet looked uneasy. Mr. Reed, she asked carefully, is this your home? Yes, I said. And are you planning to sell it? No. Claire let out a tight laugh. Dad, we talked about this. You agreed. Don't you remember? I never agreed to anything. Janet turned to Claire. I'm sorry, but I can't list a property unless the owner consents. My father has dementia, Claire snapped. I have power of attorney. He'll show you the paperwork. Do you have the actual POA documents? Janet asked. They are in process. But I have a physician's statement confirming his diagnosis. Janet shook her head. That's not enough. I need a valid power of attorney before I can proceed on someone else's behalf. She turned back to me. I'm very sorry for the interruption, Mr. Reed. She left quickly. Mark was already backing toward the door. Claire, maybe we should go. Claire ignored him. She stepped closer to me. You're forcing my hand, Dad. I will get power of attorney whether you cooperate or not. I have the doctor's statement. Witnesses. Proof of decline. I can have a judge declare you incompetent. She leaned in. Is that what you want? Strangers deciding if you're crazy? Get out of my house, I said. She smiled, cold and confident. It's not your house anymore. You just don't know it yet. Mark grabbed her arm and pulled her away. They left. I locked the door and stood there shaking. I needed help. Real help. That's when I remembered Daniel Whitman. Daniel had been Ellen's estate lawyer. Had helped us write our wills years ago. I found his number in her address book and called, even though it was Sunday. Daniel Whitman. Daniel, this is Thomas Reed. You helped my wife Ellen and me with our wills. A pause. Thomas. Yes. I heard about Ellen. I'm very sorry. What's going on? I told him everything. The funeral home. The frozen accounts. The fake doctor. The threats. When I finished, there was silence. Thomas, he said finally, this is elder abuse. Financial exploitation. Your daughter is committing multiple crimes. Can you help me? Yes. But we need to move fast. Can you come to my office tomorrow morning? 8:30. My accounts are frozen. I don't have access to money. Don't worry about payment right now, he said. Bring any documents you have. Emails. Bank records. Everything. Monday morning, I brought Ellen's folder into Daniel's office. His assistant poured me coffee while I waited. Daniel came out wearing jeans and a polo, like he'd come in just for me. Come in. His office smelled like paper and leather. He sat across from me with a yellow legal pad. Tell me everything again. Slowly. Don't leave anything out. I talked for nearly an hour. He never once looked at me like I was confused. When I finished, he leaned back. First thing, this Dr. Patterson doesn't exist. I checked. No physician by that name is licensed in this state. So the document is fraudulent. And that's good for us. He didn't smile, but there was relief in his voice. He'll file emergency motions today to unfreeze your accounts. He'll also notify the bank that they acted on falsified medical information. That puts them in a very uncomfortable position legally. And the power of attorney? She doesn't have one. She can't get one without your signature or a court order. And she won't get a court order. You're clearly competent. Then his tone changed. But I need to be honest. This is going to get ugly. Your daughter is desperate, and desperate people take risks. She's my daughter. I know, he said gently. But right now, she's also a threat. You need to protect yourself. That afternoon, Daniel filed the motions. By Tuesday evening, my accounts were unfrozen. The bank called to apologize repeatedly and said they were launching an internal investigation. Wednesday morning, Daniel called again. I've got more information, he said. Your son-in-law filed for bankruptcy last week. Foreclosure proceedings have already started. My chest tightened. They're over $300,000 in debt, he added. Credit cards. Business loans. Everything. And suddenly, everything made sense. Your house isn't just a bonus for them, Daniel said quietly. It's their last lifeline. How do you know all this? Court filings are public. I also dug into Claire's finances. Thomas, she's been stealing from her employer. About $60,000 over the past year. They haven't caught it yet, but they will. I felt nauseous. My daughter is a thief. Yes, he said gently. And she intended to use your money to cover it up. I stared at the wall for a long time. What happens now? We draw a hard line, Daniel said. I'm filing a restraining order. She stays away from you and your property. I'm also reporting the forged medical letter. She'll be charged with fraud, forgery, and attempted financial exploitation of a senior. Prison. I asked. Daniel, she's my daughter. I know, he said. But if you don't stop her now, she'll try again. Maybe not tomorrow. Maybe years from now, when you're weaker. Next time, she might succeed. I didn't sleep that night. I kept seeing Claire as a child, wobbling on a bike while I ran behind her, reading bedtime stories, walking her down the aisle. And now I was the one putting her behind bars. Thursday morning, 2 detectives came to my house. I gave them everything, Ellen's folder, the emails, the timelines. They photographed it all. We'll be bringing your daughter in for questioning, one of them said. You might want to stay somewhere else for a few days. In case of what? In case she reacts badly. I called my brother. He drove down that afternoon and stayed with me. It helped more than I can explain. Friday afternoon, exactly 1 week after Ellen's funeral, Claire was arrested. The police found more forged documents in her home, including a fake will leaving everything to her. Mark was arrested too. Claire called me from jail. My brother sat beside me, his hand steady on my shoulder. "Dad," she said, crying. "Please. You have to stop this. I made mistakes, but I'm your daughter. Mom wouldn't want this." "Your mother knew," I said. "She kept records. She tried to protect us." "That's not true." "She loved you," I said. "But love doesn't erase consequences. If I go to prison, I'll lose everything. You lost everything the day you tried to steal my life at your mother's funeral." I hung up. I cried like a child. My brother held me while I did. The case moved fast. Claire's employer uncovered the theft. Charges piled up. Daniel filed a civil suit on my behalf. Negotiations failed. 3 months later, Claire pleaded guilty. 18 months in prison. 3 years probation. The judge looked at her and said, "You betrayed the person who gave you life at his most vulnerable moment. There is no cruelty lower than that." Claire never looked at me as they led her away. That night, Daniel came by with a bottle of whiskey. We sat on the porch in the cold. "How are you holding up?" he asked. "I saved my house," I said. "But I lost my daughter." "You lost her long before this," he replied. "You just didn't know it." He was right. The next spring, I sold the house. Too many memories. I moved closer to my brother. I joined a grief group. I volunteered at a legal clinic helping seniors protect themselves. I met a woman there. We took things slow. Life didn't reset, but it moved forward. Claire wrote letters from prison. I read a few. Then I stopped. On Ellen's birthday, I visited her grave. I told her I was okay. That I was living again. I'm 69 now. I wake up every morning, make dark coffee the way Ellen liked it, and thank God I survived. My daughter gets out next year. I don't know if she'll call. I don't know if he'll answer. But I do know this. I'm not the man she tried to erase in that funeral home hallway. I learned, too late, maybe, that strength isn't just endurance. It's knowing when love must stop protecting lies and start protecting truth.